Alright, here we are in the first round against whatever your name is. I am Slagathor. That's awesome. We're not going to mull because we have our cures, but here's where we're seeing our planes might get a little bit of an issue with having low planes, but who knows? Maybe we'll luck out. And here is a black opponent. That's kind of cool. I'm sure we're just going to be slamming off our first cure onto this Tormented Hero. I just hope it doesn't grow out of hand. And Ordeal would actually be okay here. We'll see what our opponent has in store for us. Nothing. That's actually pretty good. We'll leave up our cure, and now we do have both of our mana for the spear, but this goes to show sort of the awkwardness of how our mana base is going to play. Since I couldn't play the planes this turn and keep open this guy. I'm going to go ahead and kill a Tormented Hero now, since I have a second Freakus Cure and I just need to stem the bleeding. There could be like a boon or something. That's fine. Use it. Maybe it's because I have a second Freakus Cure. I'd probably be more conservative if there was a Nutter. Cool beans. If my opponent's kind of chilling and hanging out, that works for me as I get my mana base online and develop my board. And I'm happy to take 1 point of damage here or there. Cool. Mono black doesn't really have a good way to deal with the Spear of Heliod, and since now is a perfect time for me to put some power on the board. Is my opponent playing mono black? Or probably just a little screwed? I'm assuming it's a heavy mono black deck. I'm playing the other black opponent. Because 2 1-drops in black that are, you know, especially the Asphalt one, that's pretty. Yeah, this is. My opponent's going control. Maybe has like 3 or 4 Gray Merchants of Asphodel, which I don't think is going to be able to have my opponent get there. Though I do wish that Read the Bones was my card. Ooh, Disciple Phoenix. That's kind of nice. What do I want more of? I think we just maximize our mana, use the Gray Merchant now, and then we use the Disciple next turn. That seems appropriate. The extra 2 points of damage in this matchup aren't going to be a big deal if I were to say play the Phoenix first and then the Gray Merchant. Whereas looking at all my opponent's cards will be very good. It does mean I have to be somewhat worried about my opponent playing his or her own Disciple of Phoenix. We're blocker online now. And a Return to Centaur. Gonna mull me? Yes. And took some really nice cards out of the way. I would have liked to have drawn those cards. The Spear is a pretty nice all-star in a black deck, despite its mana cost, because black has such nice lifelink, and when being able to stay alive long enough and gain some life so that you can take damage to kill creatures, I'm a fan of. Hey, Divine Verdict. Cool. All there is Farika's Cure. Let's go ahead and play out our Disciple here. See what my opponent's working with. Or not. I mean, we don't have to look at it, I guess. Here we go. What else you got for me? Gray Merchant, Farika's Cure, Viper's Kiss. Okay, Cure does nothing, Kiss does nothing, so goodbye. Cure, Kiss. Cool beans. Yeah, so as anticipated, this is a great merchant deck we're fighting up against, and staying at a nice life total really helps us out. It means I do want to start putting some beats on my opponent, and unfortunately, a sentry and an emissary, two of our really three sort of finishers, are now gone. But I am going to be able to start attacking relatively soon. Oh, I should have blocked. I'm not even paying attention. I'm surprised my opponent attacked in. I should have blocked with the Gray Merchant. I mean, my opponent could have, like, 2-for-1 against the Gray Merchant, but whatever. And by 2-for-1, I mean using the Kiss and the Freakus Cure, but that would have my God's Willing available. That's not horrible, because I have a lot of mana requirements, but I would like something else. Let's go ahead and start attacking. Alright, so this allows us to use our spear to pick off someone who's dealing damage to us, plus still have like Divine Verdict up or God's Willing, or Freakus Cure. So that's nice. Viper's Kiss, sure. So we have a 2-4 without activated abilities. Maybe my opponent's just trying to, save on some mana. We'll take the 2 and then kill it. Now I'm going to hold on to the swamp, because I can activate my spear and do all my spells, and against discard, I'd like to keep the swamp alive. And we'll just keep doing it in 2 and grind this game out for the moment. Could be a lash here. Nope. Over tap for a regen? Okay. Yep. Playing another Asphodel Wanderer. I guess that's a thing. Another sentry would be cool. Oh, not there yet. So if we attack in for both, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There could be like a double block and then a cure or something. That's fine. More, I'm expecting my opponent to tap out, at which point we can use a Pharika's Cure on one of the Wanderers so we can keep getting in. Not particularly amazing, but definitely, I'm not doing anything else. And the only way, like, for me to lose this game is if my opponent can dig out of this hole with defense. So I'll keep the pressure going. I also have this Divine Verdict and Spear for backup removal, so I don't really care that much about the cure. And hey, the life gain could be kind of cool. Let those things happen. Can't believe a Freakus Kier took out an Asphodel Wanderer. I hope that's the first time in the history of Theros draft that that has happened. Probably isn't, but I surely hope it is. This could be, ooh, a sip of hemlock. Well, no better time to use a God's Willing than now. Plus I get to scry. And there's still a cure in hand. And it looks like my opponent was over it. And I would have kept that scholar for sure. Something to think about in terms of holding on to my mana. I didn't think about it. It wouldn't have changed my decision. But knowing that I have the 2 scholars in my deck means I kind of want to like add my lands to the board. Against my opponent with possible Disciple Phoenixes across the table, I think it was correct not to do that. To save them for discarding. But still, I wish I had thought of that as a decision maker. Viper's Kiss might be good against those Asphodel Wanderers, but I don't think I care about them in any way, shape, or form. That's not what I wanted to pull aside. I wanted to pull aside the Battle Priest as a possibility. I'm probably going to see... This is probably the person who pulled that Dark Betrayal out of the 3rd pack, and I might see that, so that's something to care about when there's 1 black mana up. My opponent's not looking to go aggressive anyway. I want more evasion than anything else, it looks like, so I can kind of do some beats. Was there any enchantments I cared about? No. We didn't see a lot from my opponent. Kind of just had dorky dudes and then a gray merchant. I could bring in the Fleet Feather Sandals since I'm going to have time for that, it feels. But then I don't really want to pull out anything except maybe a 2-drop. I'm not too sure if I want to replace a 2-drop with the Fleet Feather Sandals. Though I think it could be right to pull out a cure. Yes, the cures were good that game, but on the mana base, it was a little rough. Yeah, I think against my opponent, the Fleet Feather Sandals will actually be quite decent. If I saw more targets for the Viper's Kiss, I guess I saw enough targets where it's worth it. Maybe I don't play the Sandals. If I'd rather just have like a solid removal spell against some of the early aggression or the Asphodel Wanderers. Yeah, I think that's probably better. Cool, we'll do that. Is I'm Slagathor gonna play first again? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Since my opponent's not super aggressive, and if there is an aggressive start, I have a Viper's Kiss, I'm fine with this. I have a nice Sentry removal spell, and then Whip is like really tasty once we draw one of our 10 swamps. So, I'm feeling okay. I'll go ahead and take out the Asphodel Wanderer now. It'd be better if it's a Tormented Hero, but obviously my opponent does not have that. I could also wait to play the Viper's Kiss here. But if something does kind of bestow or pop on top of that, well, let's just wait a turn. Maybe there is like a Tormented Hero that's going to come down on the draw. But if like an Ordeal comes down, I'm going to be kind of annoyed. Ooh, a Flesh Mad Steed. 1 point. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, Return Phalanx. Actually, we're going to start with that guy. That's way better. Your own Return Phalanx. How about that? Luckily, that's not going to really matter a whole lot this match. Yeah, now we'll play the Viper's Kiss. Use up the mana. I don't want too much devotion on the other side of the table. And then we'll have a Whip next turn, which is, is fine. Alright. Gray Merchants, here you come. Luckily, with my Whip, I should be getting quite a bit of life, so I'm not worried about that. My opponent's got to be like, what? Whip and Spear? That's just stupid. I have to decide if I want to run out my sentry into like um, a removal spell or something, or if I want to wait a couple of draw steps to protect it. I'm not too sure I love that idea. If it does die, I still get to whip it back, do some amounts of damage. And the Scholar can kind of finish things off later on anyway. Right? Yeah, let's just get it out there. Make my opponent use the removal. Do you have a lash, kind opponent? No lash of the whip. That's nice. Could be Sip of Hemlock here. Seems like that's the case. Oh no, you do have a lash. You must have just drawn it then. Ooh, Observant Elsiad. That'll be cool. Well, for now, we'll just go ahead and play our Scholar, right? Yeah. And then we should be able to put the Observant Elsiad on top of the Scholar next turn. And with our future removal spells, we'll be in pretty decent shape. So it looks like my opponent wants to try to get a beat in here. I'm okay with that. One card in hand means there can be at max speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of Gray Merchant damage to come through. Don't care about that at all. I could just go ahead and lash. I'm kind of interested in putting the Baleful Eidolon on the Scholar of Athreos and attack in, because then it would cost my opponent both the returned phalanxes. That's kind of fun. I'm only taking 4 a turn from the Flesh-Mad Steed. What do I want to do? So many delicious choices. I'm going to put the Eidolon on the Scholar and attack in. Let's see what my opponent wants to do here. Yeah. Asphodel Wanderer. Farika's Cure. I want more mana. I'm not complaining. Well, I guess I am complaining. We can do this attack again, gain 2 life. Can use the Cure to take out the Asphodel Wanderer. Probably not going to do that, but still, could happen. I think it's just time to put the Alciad up. Then we have, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7? Which means all of these guys would have to block. I still get to take out 2 return phalanxes and gain 4 life. That's kind of nice. I think I just play my removal spells now, though. I think it's time for that. So I can kill the Asphodel Wanderer now that my opponent's doing this before different types of attacks, so we'll go ahead and do that. And that's just showing my opponent not playing the Wanderer correctly. If my opponent had blocked previously before regenerating all that fun stuff, that would have been very good. My opponent's happy to continue to take some damage. I'm pretty much out of gas in terms of I can't play any of my cards. I don't want to play the Alciad as just a 2/2 Vigilance. It's irrelevant against the Return Phalanx. Oh shoot, I missed an activation. That was dumb. Well, silly, silly me. I like making a Voltron here. Alright, so no lash was drawn for my opponent. That was really the only thing that kind of got me. My opponent could have lashed and then double blocked and such. Read the bones. Okay. Again, 1 Gray Merchant. There's only a 6-point damage. Not a huge deal in my opinion. Opponent doesn't want to attack in with the Steed. Even though I've shown pretty readily that I don't want to block, but maybe now my opponent wants to be blocking. More mana is definitely good for me. Alright, if we attack in... Do I have enough mana to... 1, 2, 3, 4, plus just 3. Bummer, I'm 1 away from being able to do a removal spell and a whip activation. I'll just continue to... I think the only way I really lose this is with some nutty Gray Merchant issues. So if my opponent wants to start like throwing away cards, that's fine. As in black cards, that's cool. And we gain life every turn. Alrighty. Yeah, that works for me. I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Except if there's a boon. And let's not forget our Scholar of Theros. Ooh, Keepsake Gorgon. That's a very good card. Definitely something I don't want to see across from the table. Let's see if my opponent wants to try to block with that. I highly doubt it. It's going to take out probably this Scholar here, which is okay. Here I can bring in the Sentry with my whip. Attack in with both my guys, and then follow up with a Scholar. I kind of like that idea. I don't get a lash anything. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Means a triple block's going down. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Cool. I'm going to activate the Scholar, and then I'm hoping that when the Keepsake Gorgon monstrosities, it kills one of my bestowed creatures that will have dropped off. Because I think the Scholar I need to protect the second Scholar in my hand I need to protect as my win condition. Because otherwise what I could do is go ahead and play the Scholar instead of an activation, but then this the Scholar on the battlefield dies, so can my other Scholar into monstrosity. So I'm happy to do this. Kill everybody. Yes. and then be in a very fine position. Unless an Abhorrent Overlord comes down, I don't see a strong way for my opponent to get out of this. Certainly an option. I'm hoping this is just monstrosity. Yeah, that's fine with me. Take out whoever you want. Yeah, cool. That is A-okay. My opponent is appropriately holding back on defense. I'm going to play the Scholar and try to grind this game out, right? Actually, I can just go ahead and bash in with the Alciad and get my opponent with a Lash, right? I only have 2 mana left. Oh well. Let's give it a go, see what happens. There could be, like, a cure. I just assume my opponent's out of cards. Even if this is, like, a bluff or something, or my opponent doesn't read the bluff, or I get blown out, I'm not in such a bad position for it to be a major issue. Leaving up God's Willing. I don't know if my opponent's going to play around that, but consideration. Cool. Return Centaur. Do it. And a Scourge Mark. What you digging for? Putting stuff into my graveyard when I have a whip is not a good idea. Look I have my Sentry now to bash through. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the Sentry back. I have 4 mana left. I'll probably just play the Scholar at that point. Yeah. And this should set us up pretty well for the win next turn. Oakley dokley. The Scholar has to be removed. Do I have a 2 power? No, all I have... And opponent's bummed because of all the lands. Yeah. Okay, well, round 2. Here we come.